How can you be a kind and loving wife after feeling betrayed by your husband's porn use? I know porn use is rather common within and out of marriages today. I want intimacy, love, and respect in my marriage, and definitely fall into what you call my woman ways. Any advice or thoughts? So thank you to this woman. Good for you to ask the question and want to learn and grow from this. And I'm going to answer it just as I would if I was working with one of my female students in a course, and I just tell it straight and directly so that you can have a red pill moment to see the truth in yourself and how you are using this as a way, as a woman way to have a victim story about your husband. So if you know, and it also in this, I want to say, I haven't talked to this woman. I don't know the story. I'm not talking about compulsive addictive behavior with porn. I'm just taking this question and using it again as a talking point to talk about porn use being common in a marriage and not talking about addiction or compulsive use. So if you know it's common, for men to watch porn, which it is, why do you want to make it a betrayal? That's the question. Why do you want to make porn a betrayal? Especially when we know that it is common. So good men do not watch porn against their wives. It is an outlet. Just as shopping can be for us as women, just as alcohol can be for some people, or emotional eating, or doom scrolling on your phone and on social media. It is an outlet. It is a release. It is a coping mechanism of stress. A good man isn't watching porn to try to betray or hurt his wife. And in this question, we're not talking about the morals of watching porn or not watching porn, just seeing it, that it is common and it is a vice. And that we all have vices, that none of us are perfect human beings without any vice of escape or coping with the stressors of everyday life. So I often ask women in this, what vice do you have that you hide or don't want others to know about or have a spotlight on? Because we can be on our high horses and make men wrong around porn when we have vices, and not let alone our woman ways that are a million times worse than the vice of a man watching porn from time to time. So that's a question you want to ask yourself. The other piece in this question is, this is just another thing that we can use to make our husbands the bad guy, make them wrong, and weave and create our victim story. So let's assume she's married to a good man. Again, just for the sake of a talking point, she's married to a good man. He watches porn from time to time as a stress outlet and release. And he is just a wonderful husband and is appreciative and thoughtful, a good dad, works hard, good provider. And as women, we will look, what's the thing that I can use to make him wrong, make him the bad guy? And porn is often very much one of those things we look to create that victim story. This is a wonderful example of the stories we create as women and how we want to find that one thing to validate why our husbands are the problem and why we blame them for our unhappiness in the marriage. And here's the truth, that if you were a kind and loving wife, that kindness and love would not be conditional on whether or not your husband watches porn or what he does or doesn't do that is in the range of normal and common in everyday life. You would focus on all the wonderful things that he does and how he shows up and his qualities as a good man. And you would accept him and have empathy for him because you understand your own humanness and your own mistakes or vices that you have. So there's an incongruency here. in the question that a kind, loving wife would not feel betrayed. You tell yourself that I can't be kind and loving because of his porn use, but it's the opposite. That if you were a kind and loving wife, you would not feel betrayed. Telling yourself that you can't be a kind and loving wife because of the porn use, again, is a victim story. Because he does X, Y, and Z, I have to be guarded and walled off and distant in the relationship. That's camp victim. That's putting the power and control outside of yourself and creating a poor me story of how you're betrayed in your marriage. The reason we feel betrayed is because of our own insecurities in ourselves. If we were secure, confident, felt good about ourselves, we would not be threatened by our husbands watching porn, and we would see the reality of it, that it is not an emotional outlet for them. It is a stress outlet and a release without pressure to perform or connect. Just, again, like shopping or scrolling on your phone or binge watching a Netflix show. Porn is just taboo in our culture and something we can make bigger and a bigger problem than what it actually is. I'm not saying it can be a problem for some, but that's not the framework of which we are talking about this. So what you want to do is be looking at yourself, not outward at him. What is it about me, independent of my husband's behaviors, that I'm not a kind, loving wife? And what is it about me and my own insecurities that I can be so threatened and feel betrayed by this? And then you can overcome and accept and not make it a problem when you're secure in yourself and living in camp, take responsibility and focus on the good things in your marriage. So again, thank you so much for the question.